we were all going direct the other way. In short, the period was so far like the present period that some of its noisiest authorities insist on being received for good or for evil in the superlative degree of comparison only. There were kings with large ears and queens with plain faces on the thrones of England and in the White House of America. Those who do not know their history are doomed to repeat it. Not just the history specifically, but its mistakes. This morning, I'm going to share with you a tale of 5 kings, so that you can understand when Patrick Henry said, "I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know no way to judge the future but by the past." There was a king by the name of William I, who began his reign in 1066. William I took over the throne of Great Britain after conquering a new king. William I was not from Great Britain. He was from Normandy. You see, William I set up himself on the throne of Great Britain with one purpose: to fundamentally change the face of Great Britain. William I did not like Great Britain because Great Britain was unique. Great Britain was a kingdom, just like every other kingdom, where the subjects had no rights or privileges unless the king himself granted them, with one exception. Great Britain had common law. A common law that said there are a common set of laws, rules, commonly known by all, based on common social standards, commonly applied throughout the kingdom. So although you were subjects to a king and every day you were at the whim of the sovereign, there were some things that you woke up knowing to always be true. Common law never changed. And it bound the king in a certain way, constrained him to follow the common law. William I did not appreciate these constraints and set about to fundamentally transform Great Britain once he was on the throne. William I, in fundamentally transforming Great Britain, a kingdom that's unique, began to attack its uniqueness. What was that? William I is attacking common law. Fundamentally transforming Great Britain into his home country, a foreign nation, William decides to replace the judges in the common law system with judges who are loyal to the king and his ideology, not to the common law. William starts using these judges, loyal to the common law, loyal to the ideology of the king and not to the common law, to enforce his foreign law on the people, contrary to the English common law. He starts chasing the landowners off of their land, sometimes with force itself, literally running them completely out of the kingdom, and then handing over their land to his foreign Norman friends. How else do you keep foreign law in a nation if it's not full of foreigners who like the foreign law more than the common law of the land? He starts placing his agents into the churches, men who are loyal to the ideology of the king, not loyal to the word of God, willing to submit to the whim of the sovereign rather than follow the commands of Scripture. He uses these agents now to control the people, enforce his unconstitutional laws, and collect his taxes. William I reigns for about 40 years. We can now fast forward to the second king in our tale of kings, Charles I. Charles I, the year is about 1620, and Charles I is recorded through history as being a massive spending king. Charles, they say, likes to romp about Europe spending on his every whim and fancy. Charles is collecting the people's tax dollars to pay for his own folly. But you see, now Great Britain has a degree of separation of powers. They have the Magna Carta, which declares there'll be no taxation without representation. Parliament, now it's being called, is that representation, and Parliament stands up to Charles I and says, Charles, we're not going to tolerate any more of your wasteful spending. We will not pass any more of your laws until you get your spending under control. Charles says to Parliament, fine then, but let me remind you that I'm king. I have a divine right to this throne. Why does Parliament have any rule over me? And he dissolves Parliament. Now, mind you, he doesn't have to literally remove Parliament from the court. He can simply declare that if Parliament refuses to pass laws, he will. Perhaps he gave a State of the Kingdom address saying as much. Perhaps he simply said, where Parliament will not legislate, I'll just go ahead and regulate. Because that's the same as dissolving Parliament, declaring them irrelevant and impotent. Charles I continues his spending, and now, because there's no Parliament, he's afraid to collect a tax because he doesn't want to wake the people out of their slumber to know that their constitution is being violated. So he does not pass a law, but he realizes that as a king, he can issue a decree. A decree that says, you will give me your money. Now, he's careful not to call it a tax, because that would be taxation without representation, and he doesn't want to make the people realize what he's doing. So he's careful not to call it a tax. He calls his decree a forced loan. A forced loan. 7 knights. The sheriff of Charles' day says, tax, mandate, mandate, tax. We don't care what you call this, Charles. This is taxation without representation, and we will not comply, nor will we actually enforce this law. Charles throws these knights in prison, and they die there. He holds them without a trial, denies them their habeas corpus as demanded by the Magna Carta, because they are a threat to the kingdom. Enter in James II. The year is 1688. James II is engaging in what has been identified in 1641 as the malignant and pernicious design. The Grand Remonstrance of 1641, which declared Charles I a tyrant, chopping off his head, gives us this malignant and pernicious design. A design to overturn and undermine liberty. The malignant and pernicious design is identified as a corruption of the court system, infiltration of foreign law, diminishing property rights of the people, manipulation of the monetary system, the government inserting itself into the government of the church, and the people being disarmed while the government remained armed. The malignant and pernicious design to undermine and destroy liberty. James II is engaging in this malignant and pernicious design, but then decides that he's going to issue a decree called religious liberty. He declares that in Great Britain, you no longer have to be a member of the Church of England. You can practice any other religion you choose. You don't have to attend church in the Church of England. You don't have to speak to the bishops. You can have your own church leaders. You can have your own religion. You can meet anywhere you like and preach anything you wish. But, he says, there's a trade-off. You must comply with the demand of the king. Come back after the break. We'll finish our tale of 5 kings and tell you about James II's fine print on religious liberty.
The KrisAnne Hall Show. When news breaks, we've got it. Online at freedom93fm.com.
Family is our idea of a merger. Family is far more important than profits. That's why in these days of mergers and corporate takeovers, Beavis Funeral Home has made a commitment to stay a family-owned business. Whether you have an immediate need, or if you're interested in discussing the advantages of pre-arranging your funeral, family-owned Beavis Funeral Home is here to serve your family. Call or stop by for information.
This just in, coverage from Farm Bureau takes the risk out. For your home, car, farm, or business, call 671-3276. That's 671-FARM. Farm Bureau. Here today, here tomorrow.
When you need electrical services anywhere in the greater Tallahassee area, there's only one name you need to know.
Lawson & Lawson Electric.
For 2 generations, there's only been one company that can handle any electrical project, from new construction to industrial to complete remodels, whether commercial or residential.
Lawson & Lawson Electric.
The reason they've won so many awards is because they've earned your trust with fair, consistent pricing, honesty, integrity, and quality workmanship they stand behind. That's why the best customer service experience you're ever going to have with an electrical company is with
Lawson & Lawson Electric.
The good guys. Guess who does the electrical work for so many local restaurants, department stores, retail centers, pharmacies, schools, churches, and too many others to mention?
Let me guess. Lawson & Lawson Electric.
Now you got it.
Check them out online at llelectrical.com. Call 562-4111. That's 562-4111 for Lawson & Lawson Electric. License number EC1-300-2150.
Killing mold is what we do, making your home safe for your family and you. I'm the mold man. He's the mold man.
Hi, I'm John Hassler, owner of Indoor Environmental Management. Our name's long, but our mission is short. Mold's growing in your home, we kill it. Got mold? How do you know? Are you or any of your family members suffering from allergies, sore throats, asthma? Does your home have a crawl space or musty smell? Or have you ever had a water leak? These are signs of mold growth. Our 30 years experience in the construction industry and extensive background in microbiology and building science makes us the only solution to your mold problem.
Call 383-MOLD. That's 383-MOLD for the mold man.
Clearance, clearance, clearance. clearance. It's the big online clearance blowout, only at 12,000under.com. Right now, every quality used vehicle is on clearance. Log on to 12,000under.com. It's easy to search, easy to view, tons of pictures and videos, Carfax reports, and more. Bad credit, no credit, slow credit. Our credit experts can get you approved. Browse our huge selection of pre-owned vehicles on clearance and under $12,000 right now at 12,000under.com. Plus, log on today and make no payments till next year. Hurry, these clearance prices will not last. Nearly every car, truck, van, and SUV is just a click away, and they're all on clearance and under $12,000 during the big online clearance blowout at 12,000under.com. That's 12000under.com. Just browse, click, drive, and save. Prices plus tax, tag, and title fees. Deferred payments based on qualified credit. Interest accrues from date of purchase. Sponsored by Legacy Toyota.
Got an old car or truck you don't know what to do with? Donate it to Goodwill. Your donation of that old car or truck, boat, or RV provides jobs for your neighbors and a nice tax deduction for you. Call today, 850-656-8000. Goodwill will be right over with free pickup. That old car, truck, boat, or RV may be worthless to you, but it provides valuable job opportunities for others. So call Goodwill today to donate your vehicle. 850-656-8000.
Doral Bank Florida pledges to serve customers with genuine care and concern and to serve our markets as a generous corporate citizen.
In Tallahassee, that approach is embodied by our commercial lender, Jack Kane. Jack's a valuable asset given his extensive banking experience and outstanding reputation, and he truly models Doral's commitment to community service.
If you're working to acquire, expand, or develop a business, Jack Kane is a good guy to know. He's a solid banker and he's good people.
Doral Bank Florida, home of genuine community banking. 914-2525. Member FDIC.
She's a former political journalist who became one of Tallahassee's most high-profile entrepreneurs. She's Allison North Jones, host of Mornings with Allison. Weekdays at 7 on Freedom 93 FM. The KrisAnne Hall Show. She's Liberty's lobbyist.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. We are discussing A Tale of Five Kings this morning, showing how Patrick Henry could possibly have said, "I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided. It is the lamp of experience. I know no way to judge the future, but by the past." William I, fundamentally transforming Great Britain by attacking their common law, property rights, and giving land to foreign agents instead of to the commoners, to the British people of their kingdom. Charles I, a massive spending king, romping about Europe, spending on his every whim and fancy, dissolving the legislative branch because they will not follow his whim, imposing taxes outside representation. James II engaging in the malignant and pernicious design, corruption of the court system, infiltration of foreign law, diminishing property rights of the people, manipulating the monetary system, inserting his agents into the churches, and disarming the people while the government stayed armed. James II issues the Religious Liberty Decree that says you no longer have to attend the Church of Great Britain and you can practice any religion you'd like. Except you must inform the king first where you'll be meeting, who will be meeting with you, who will be preaching, and what will be said. You have to make sure that you also promise that you will never, ever, ever say anything that might be construed as negative against the king. Because you see, James has incorporated this law called seditious libel that says it's against the law to criticize the king, punishable by life in prison. Now that's a death sentence in James' day, because prisons were not cable TV and workout rooms, dank, dark cells with disease and starvation, pestilence. Listen. Then we have George III. George III, the king, who decided to be an evil and oppressive king, engaging in the malignant and pernicious design against our founders of this nation, doing the same as William, Charles, and James, creating taxes outside representation, creating laws in which the lawmakers are not bound by the laws that they create, mandating purchases. And then if the colonists refused to purchase the mandated goods, George called them criminals, allowed his agents to search their homes without warrants, arrest them if they're found with purchases outside the mandated purchase, throwing them in prison and then transporting them to Canada to be tried by the French. George III, James II, Charles I, William I, all tyrants whose goal is to overturn, undermine, and completely destroy liberty. Oh yeah, I forgot. James II was also overturning, undermining, and writing law. You see, in 1688, they had separation of powers. They had a legislative branch in Parliament, they had an executive branch in the king, and they had a judicial branch. And the king was not allowed to write law, overturn law, or set aside law. That was a duty only reserved to the legislative branch. And when they brought a revolution against James II, bringing the English Bill of Rights of 1689, they declared that when James II was writing law, overturning law, and setting aside law, that was the complete destruction of liberty. William I, Charles I, James II, George III, tyrants enter in, bury the first.
The KrisAnne Hall Show.
I just don't know who's happier about back to school time, me or the kids. Especially when the Army Surplus Store has military logo t-shirts, cargo pants, and shorts. And of course, awesome jungle boots. It's time for back to school socks, PT gear, and backpacks galore. Pack the kids in the van and get them over to the Army Surplus Store for a selection of unusual t-shirts, handbags, shoulder bags, and duffel bags they won't find anywhere else. The Army Surplus Store is located across from Hooters on North Monroe and on Tennessee Street, just west of Ocala Road.
Wildfires now burning in 11 western states, biggest in Idaho. ABC's Wendy Gillette's there.
The sky glowed orange in central Idaho last night, though fire crews say the flames are spreading a little less quickly. Firefighters battling the Beaver Creek wildfire were helped by cloud cover and plenty of manpower Sunday. More than 1,200 people, including the National Guard, 19 aircraft, and 90 fire engines.
More rain to the southeast has caused serious flooding. Major flooding also reported in the Philippines and in Russia. Cairo reported calm for now after around 900 people were killed in violence over the past week of protest. Members of Congress split over whether the U.S. ought to cut off military aid to Egypt. President Obama is back in Washington after his vacation on Martha's Vineyard. Meets with federal regulators today to talk about efforts to strengthen the financial system. A lot of 911 calls in Fairfield, Connecticut from people reporting their cable service was out. Doug Limerick, ABC News.
ABC Network News on Freedom 93 FM is brought to you by Kraft Nissan.
Start the new year off with a fresh idea for your business from The Printery. Jason Butera here. Whether it's new business cards, flyers introducing yourself, or postcards you need printed and mailed, The Printery can print just about anything. We offer same-day turnaround and free pickup and delivery. The Printery, home of 36-cent color copies every day. From business cards to banners, if it's ink on paper, we've got it covered. Call us at 877-6418. 877-6418.
Have you made funeral prearrangements but are now having second thoughts about the funeral home where you've made them? If so, here's good news. Beavis Funeral Home honors prearrangements made at other funeral homes. Regardless of your reason, Beavis Funeral Home is here. Call or stop by for information.
Boss, you're going to want to hear this special bulletin from the Crooks Rust newsletter.
Calm down. What is it?
Lester Jackson has done it again.
Stop babbling and tell me what's going on.
Boss, it's the worst thing since handcuffs. SafeTouch can now monitor all alarm systems over the internet using their two-way voice communicator.
Oh, how do they do it?
Wait, boss, it gets worse. Now, if the internet ever goes down, the system automatically switches over to a cell phone.
What? Oh, that Lester Jackson! I think he lives just to make my life miserable.
Boss, I think it's finally time we find a new place without SafeTouch.
I ain't moving because of Lester Jackson. We just need to act fast. Even SafeTouch can't get the entire city switched out in one day.
Well, at least you're looking at the bright side of things.
Don't! I hate SafeTouch!
Crooks know to stay away from SafeTouch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of SafeTouch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call 385-9511 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Right now at Burger King, mix and match any two of our delicious signature sandwiches for just $5. That's right, pick any combination you want for just $5. Whether you're craving the Whopper sandwich and the original chicken sandwich, the original chicken sandwich and the premium Alaskan fish sandwich, or the Whopper and another Whopper, it's now just $5. With a 2-for-$5 deal, every combination is the perfect combination, so don't miss it. Come in today and get any two sandwiches for just $5. Only at Burger King, where taste is king. Limited time only. Price and participation vary.
This is Gene Deckerhoff, and I'm at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep. And I want to tell you about our summer clearance event. Right now on all our 2013 Ram 1525 and 3500 trucks, you can get savings up to $11,000 off the MSRP. And Consumer Report says that the Ram 1500 is at the top of the list. If you're a business owner, you can receive an extra $1,000 off. That's $12,000 off MSRP on the 2013 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. The summer clearance event is going on right now at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep. Tallahassee DCJ wants to be the Jeep headquarters of America, too. During this event, we have 2013 Jeeps starting at just $18,999. With over 100 Jeeps available for sale, you are sure to find one for you. No one has the selection of Jeeps that we do. And with prices starting at just $18,999, no one will beat our price. On the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Dealer retains all rebates and incentives, must provide current business license to receive $1,000. Prices plus tax, tag, and dealer fee.
Catch exciting NFL action right here on Tallahassee's new home for Jacksonville Jaguars football. Freedom 93 FM. The KrisAnne Hall Show. She's Liberty's lobbyist.
Well, this morning, enjoying ourselves on the KrisAnne Hall Show here on 93.3 Freedom FM. Talking about A Tale of Five Kings. Showing us how those who do not know their history are doomed to repeat its mistakes. And also, I believe, showing us how far we've come from a constitutional republic to, perhaps, am I being out of line by saying a kingdom? I have given you 4 kings. William I, Charles I, James II, and George III. All engaged in the goal to destroy liberty. What do they have in common with Barry I? King Barry I, I call him. Remember, William I was not appreciative of the common law of Great Britain that limited him and constrained him to recognize some of the rights of the people. King Barry I doesn't appreciate our common law either, does he? Always trying to find a way to circumvent and destroy the Constitution. William I set about to fundamentally transform Great Britain through corruption of the court system, infiltration of foreign law, diminishing property rights of the people, running the people off of their property, and then giving their property to his foreign friends. Perhaps the beginning of the United Nations. Just like we have in this country, handing over our land to the UN. How about William I just simply inviting his friends over? Perhaps giving them amnesty. Perhaps declaring that there is no limitation on his friends coming into the country. We have to give them land and businesses. Charles I, a massive spending king, romping about Europe, spending on his every whim and fancy, using the taxpayers' dollars as his vacation fund. King Barry I as well. Charles I also declaring Parliament irrelevant and impotent, passing laws when Parliament refuses, also collecting their taxes. In the name of national security, Charles I trying to tell the people we have to fund our allies in these foreign wars. But then the people realizing Charles is not funding their allies. He's actually funding their enemies. Enter in aid to Egypt, aid to Syrian rebels. I'm sure if Charles had F-16s that he could send, he would be doing that. I'm sure Charles would have been gun running. But here we have King Barry I doing the same thing. James II being charged with overturning, undermining, and completely destroying liberty by writing law, setting aside law, and declaring law irrelevant. A violation of separation of powers. Demanding all who worship, who have engaged in their religious liberty, must comply with the king's decree that you can never say anything bad about the king. No, I'm not talking about Barack Obama. I'm talking about James II. Declaring a law called seditious libel that says if you say anything negative about the king, you're going to prison for life, which is a death sentence. The law seditious libel also says truth is no defense. Which means even if you're right, even if the king is wrong, you can't criticize the king. Rodeo clowns. Don't talk about king behind the pulpit, because we'll revoke your 501c3, or we'll just threaten you with that just so long so that your pastors tremble in their pulpits against a man by the name of Barack Obama. Tremble in their pulpits. No longer fear of the Lord in their hearts, only fear of man. Well, listen. King Barry I. How is he different? He's absolutely not different. Aiding Libyan rebels. Who knows which side they'll be on next week? aiding Syrian rebels. Who knows what side they'll be on this week? How about TARP? Bailouts. Congress doesn't approve? But guess what? Our King Barry can pass laws, set aside laws. He can declare that laws are irrelevant. We're simply not going to enforce laws, he says. We're going to allow criminals to head up our IRS. We're going to give tax dollars to business executives. We're going to romp about Europe, spending on our every whim and fancy. We're going to threaten people with seditious libel. If you ever dare to criticize King Barry I, you will be banned for life from your job. You will be fired. You will have to decide, do you want liberty or do you want a paycheck? You will have to allow the government to engage in warrantless searches, just like George III. You will have to allow for the murder of U.S. citizens without judicial process, just like James II. You will have to allow the president to dictate to companies who their employees can and cannot be, just like William I and Charles I. You will have to allow the king to steal money from the people, to run guns into the hands of criminals, for criticizing the king. And then you're going to have to tolerate a government that will pass laws in which the lawmakers are not bound by those laws. Do we not see what's going on? I'm not just giving you a history lesson today for your amusement. I want you to see what is going on here. Are we that asleep? Are we that uneducated? Are we that unaware that we no longer live in a constitutional republic, but we live in a kingdom where King Barry I can rule over our legislative branch? And the legislative branch can pass laws that they themselves are not bound to. Do you see? That's what our colonists went to war over. It was not taxation without representation. It was legislation without representation. Legislation, where the legislators are not bound by the laws that they pass. If your legislators do not have to submit themselves to the laws that they create, that is a government, not by representation, but by fiat. We are a constitutional republic by law. And simply because our government has decided to be lawless does not change the government that we have. It changes how they operate. But it does not change the government that we have. What has to happen this morning, what has to happen today, is that we, the people, must wake up and demand our government comply with law. We are a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Not a government of politicians, by our state capitals, for Washington, D.C. We must stand and rule over government. Because if we get lazy in our luxury, if we get pacified in our prosperity, government will rule over us. We've not lost anything. It's not the government's to take. It belongs to us because we breathe. And the only way we lose our liberty is if, as Patrick Henry said, we simply roll over and lay supinely and allow them put the shackles on our feet. Stand up! Stand up! It's your liberty, your children's. Time to stand up.
The KrisAnne Hall Show.
Fun, Food, and Entertainment is Tallahassee's most entertaining monthly ragazine that features jokes, comedy, funny photos, and discounts to Tallahassee's oldest and most famous eateries. Check out youcanwin.com. That's spelled out, not abbreviated. Have you ever wondered why abbreviation is such a long word? And I wonder what its abbreviation is. Anyway, for locations where you can find this great piece of journalism, just go to the website, youcanwin.com. You don't have to register. The site will let you browse and download menus, exclusive discounts, and even has some hidden features you can get to from the keyword box on the front page. Just type in the word fun stuff or not printable. Fun, Food, and Entertainment, and youcanwin.com. Tallahassee's biggest double dose of free stuff, fun, and entertainment.
Sadly, 86% of children in the U.S. under the age of 6 have never had an eye exam, and about 1 in 20 suffers from vision problems.
Help improve these statistics and set up an appointment for your child at Tallahassee Eye Center, just off Mahan Drive in Capitol Circle Northeast.
You and your family members will get personal attention from eye care professionals who make sure the ones you love get the care they deserve.
At Tallahassee Eye Center, they won't cut the cost if it means cutting corners. Their doctors specialize in all aspects of primary eye care, including eye examinations for all ages, 3 to 93. They also have contact lens fittings, even for those patients who've been told their eyes are too difficult to fit.
I'm Dr. Susan Whaley. At Tallahassee Eye Center, Dr. Meckler and I offer the most technologically advanced eye care available. Plus, we have a great selection of fashionable glasses or contact lenses, so you and your family can enjoy a lifetime of good vision.
Call 216-2020, 216-2020, online at TallahasseeEyeCenter.com.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, and have I got some exciting news for you. Kraft Nissan is now the exclusive lifetime warranty dealer in Tallahassee and Thomasville, so listen up. If you purchase your next vehicle at Kraft Nissan, you're going to receive a lifetime warranty good for unlimited time and unlimited miles. You heard right, unlimited time and unlimited miles, and I mean warranty, no asterisks or fast-talking disclosures. You don't have to come back to Kraft Nissan for maintenance or repairs. You can do it anywhere in the United States or Canada. You do not have to complete any more maintenance than what's in the factory manual. When you purchase your vehicle at Kraft Nissan, everything that is covered by the factory powertrain warranty is covered by your lifetime warranty. We're talking engine, transmission, transaxle, and drivetrain, including intake and exhaust manifolds, fuel and water pumps, timing chain and tensioner, and it doesn't stop there. Kraft Nissan's lifetime warranty is no small coverage, and did I mention this warranty doesn't cost you a dime? You want to hear more? Give us a call at 576-6171, visit us on the web at craftnissan.com, or just stop by. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much, and you did not get lifetime warranty.
Family is our idea of a merger. Family is far more important than profits. That's why in these days of mergers and corporate takeovers, Beavis Funeral Home has made a commitment to stay a family-owned business. Whether you have an immediate need, or if you're interested in discussing the advantages of pre-arranging your funeral, family-owned Beavis Funeral Home is here to serve your family. Call or stop by for information.
When news breaks, we've got it. Online at freedom93fm.com. KrisAnne Hall Show. She's Liberty's lobbyist.
I remind you that if you're interested in not repeating the history and the mistakes that came before us, go to KrisAnneHall.com, KrisAnnehall.com. This website is a tool for you to maintain and expand your constitutional education every day. I've written over 180 articles. We now have the Liberty Forum, in which we have posts where you can comment, where you can debate others outside the Facebook police. You see, you have friends that don't want to be on Facebook. That's great. Send them to the Liberty Forum. They can still get educated. They can still leave their opinions, and they don't have to be on Facebook. I will not be collecting your metadata, nor will I be voluntarily sharing it with the NSA. Now, what they take from me, because I don't know, I have no idea. But I won't be submitting to any warrants. You can be guaranteed of that. Go to the website. Share it. Help educate others. Because we are dooming our children to a life of tyranny. Because we have doomed ourselves to repeating a history that we could avoid. And because we have tolerated, tamely tolerated, our lawless attack on liberty on the federal level, we have local governments that are following this way. This is how this works. You have local governments, little county sheriffs and police chiefs who are wanting to militarize your police force, your sheriff's departments, your deputies, to be militarized. Can you believe this? Now, may I remind you, Governor Rick Scott removing Liberty County Sheriff Nicholas Finch from his office for standing for the Second Amendment, for declaring that he would not enforce conceal and carry permits because they are unconstitutional. Your Republican governor, Rick Scott, declaring that he will stand with Willie Meggs in this corrupt prosecution of Sheriff Nick Finch on a crime that cannot stand unless they actually fabricate evidence, which they've established the ability to do in their corrupt mechanisms. Removing Sheriff Nicholas Finch for declaring conceal and carry permits unconstitutional and not enforcing them, what he should have done, what your sheriff should do. But where is Rick Scott in Escambia County? You see, where is Rick Scott when Roy Middleton was rummaging through his mother's car at the home that he lived in at 2:42 a.m., looking for a cigarette? His neighbor called in a suspicious activity. A man rummaging through a car at 2:42 a.m. They didn't realize that it was his own car. They didn't realize it was his neighbor. So what do the police do? The sheriff deputies show up at Mr. Middleton's house while he's looking through his mother's car looking for a cigarette and screams at him, "Get your hands where we can see them." Now Mr. Middleton, 2:42 in the morning, thinks his neighbor is playing a joke on him. But when he looked up, he saw the Escambia County Sheriff deputy standing in the driveway. And the next thing he knew, they were shooting at him. He said it was like a firing squad. Bullets were flying everywhere. Now, luckily, apparently the sheriff of the Escambia County Sheriff's Department are very bad shots. They missed him most of the time, hitting his mother's car. They had to go get a rental. But at 2:42 in the morning, Mr. Middleton finds himself under a firing squad, the Escambia County Sheriff's Department, shooting first, asking questions later, finding himself shot at by his sheriff's deputies for looking in his own mother's car for some cigarettes. Okay, so it's just an odd coincidence, an odd mistake. How about Escambia County deputies also, without a warrant, entering the home of people, Christina Moses and her fiancé Travis Nicholas, without a warrant? Why? Because they were searching for a criminal. What was their evidence? They found an upside-down bucket with a footprint next to it, next to an open window, indicating a possible unlawful entry into the home. And when nobody answered the door because the people were sleeping, they went into the home and shot their dogs. Threw these people, dragged them out of bed, threw them on the floor, handcuffed them, putting boots in their backs. 5 times shooting in their home, killing their dog. Why? Because they were hunting a suspect. Hey, Rick Scott! Let's remove the sheriff of Escambia County for his misconduct. What you think? People being shot at, dogs being killed, homes being entered. Where is equal protection of the law here? Sheriff, Governor, Willie Meggs, Pam Bondi. Tyranny.
If there's a new roof in your future, consider a metal roof from Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee. With a painted finish warranted for 40 years, a metal roof can save on your utility bill. Come by the showroom today to select your color if you want to do it yourself, or get an estimate to have the professionals install your new roof. 536-9123.